like we're losing so much of a history of Durham by that happening. We have people that own those houses that need help. Why aren't we creating some sort of a coalition or community or something to use those houses to train the kids to learn how to do this and help the homeowners in the area to improve their houses and the real estate that they already own and strengthen them that way, instead of giving them out to out-of-town investors who are driving up property and changing the houses and making everything unaffordable and losing the history of Durham.
That's very true. Dean, hold on a second. I need to bring Michael in as well. I don't want to lose everybody, and I got to make sure to give him at least a few minutes. Dean, can you help me bring Michael in just real quickly, and then we'll wrap up the conversation. So we still got 10, 12 minutes. So I'm going to try to get some more comments from folks, but I do want to make sure to at least get Michael in.
Yeah. So
say what?
Everybody that's in the house right now. He's
He jetted. All right, everybody's in the house. That's cool. What were you going to say, Mr. Williams?
Oh, well, what I was about to say, the thing that has happened in Durham, the reason why you see homes and developments taking place where they are is that 6% at one time over 6% of homeowners in Durham were renters. They did not own their homes, and so what has happened with the market in Durham being so valuable now that they are selling out to these developers, and the people who are renting are being set out and put out. And this is what's happening across Durham. And it's because, and part of it is happening because the people in Durham don't really have an interest in some of those lower income people or people who may not be able to afford the $300,000, $400,000 homes. And so this will continue to happen because Durham is basically a place where you don't have home owners, but where you have renters. And so this is why you see what's taking place in Durham now.
But I would argue it's not just Durham, like I said, and I'm curious to see if Lamarad has seen that in D.C., and I know Dean has definitely seen it in the New Jersey, New York area. It's just with this increased gentrification that's going on around the country, we're getting more and more people that are eventually going to get pushed out into these crazy environments. I know that I posted on Instagram about this affordable housing that's supposed to be built on the grassy lawn right there next to the bus terminal, and some people are asking, what do they mean by affordable housing? Will that be like the housing, the Section 8 that's right there on the corner of Main Street? And also we've got people that are moving out to places like Apex and Holly Springs and places like that. Then we've got to figure out how we're going to get them back into Durham to be the workforce because they can't afford the houses in downtown Durham. So then they have to, if they're forced out to Willow Springs, Apex, the different kind of communities out there that are outside, then you got to find a way to get them back into Durham.
Yes, and that's what's happened in Chapel Hill. Chapel Hill, I've talked to realtors, and they said one of the things that Chapel Hill had is that they had these artificially high house prices in order to keep certain people out. But then they realized that because they didn't have those lower income people there, and having the people to work in the restaurant, and the lower income paying type jobs. So this is why Chapel Hill finally came to the realization they had to build this low income housing there in Chapel Hill to keep that base there, those type workers. And Durham is, the same thing is staring us in the face. Well, it's going to begin to stare us in the face if we don't do something about it, as Sister Peterson, as she was saying, the comment she was making. If we don't do something to address it, we're going to have some of the same issues that Chapel Hill, some of these other major cities are having.
What has been your observation, Ms. Baxter? You've done real estate, and you've definitely talked about some of the places you've lived. Have you seen that with the things that are going on with gentrification?
Oh, I've been seeing it going on for years, and I think the thing that's frustrating to me is it's not like we didn't know this wasn't going to happen. We just didn't do anything about it. It was a conversation going back to the Bill Kalkoff years and when Durham was still, everything was boarded up and abandoned, as we always knew this was going to happen, the same way it was with the artists having the conversations, and Durham just chose to not have these conversations.
Yeah, because one of the things that I just had a conversation with my buddy Ray, who used to be the rental director over at the Carolina Theater, and he was talking about how he remembers years ago telling people they were talking about the development in downtown, and they were basically like, he was saying, well, what do we need? And he told them, well, y'all talk about building these hotels and everything else. You're going to need bars and you're going to need places like that for them to go to. And now we're getting that, but now, some people are wondering if we're getting too many of them. But Steve pointed out the fact, because he remembers the time that, as he jokingly says, you could literally roll somebody down the street and they wouldn't hit anybody. Whereas now, in the evening times in downtown, it's a bustling environment. But we also have to wonder who's in downtown and whether it's all of the community or whether all of our community are being reached in terms of this downtown life and what's going on in the downtown revitalization.
Right. And I think it's interesting. There was an article that came out, I think it was in the New York Times last week maybe, that said that it's not even the big developers that are coming in. It's HGTV and the average homeowner who thinks it would be fun to flip a house, that they're all now going in and buying up all these investment properties as well. So we have an epidemic of, it's not just the big companies, it's the average person that's kind of taking advantage of these areas as well too.
Definitely.
Well, I think one of the ways to really stop some of this is to get the right people on the council, because part of the problem I have where I live on Ridgeway. There's a gentleman who has come in and purchased property in back of my property, a small amount of property. This man wants to build six houses in back of my house. Now, and the other problem is the city is allowing these people. My house is only a one floor. Everything's on one floor. When you go over there at South Side, a lot of those houses was just one floor. You got houses over there that are 2 and 3 floors. That's ridiculous. And I've asked the city about it. Well, Mrs. Peterson, we don't have anything in place to talk about how large they can build a house. Really? So when did that change? Because I've always thought that the city, that you cannot just get out there and just build a huge house of any size. I always thought that there was some kind of zoning or whatever on the size of the house that you build. So that's one of the things, with the help of the Lord, if I can get on that council, I'm going to say something about these folks who want to come, these investors. I hear my sister talk, these investors who want, and I'm not against investors, but they need to respect the community. And if you want to build a house with if you want to build a home with 2 and 3 floors to it, and all the houses around only is all a split level, all on one level, that's ridiculous. And that's part of the problem, too, that the city has allowed. And that has not always been going on here in Durham, but it's definitely going on downtown and over there South Side. And another thing that is happening, that the city has allowed persons to build houses, what I would call on the front row, and then they are allowing people to build another house in back of that house, and what they're doing is sharing the driveway. Well, actually, that's against the law. Because the law says that when you leave out of your house, you're supposed to be able to go right to the street. Well, now the houses that they're building, you can share a driveway. So they're building a house in the front and the house in the back, and the house in the back is sharing the driveway with the house in the front.
Wow. Lama Rod, have you seen the same kind of stuff going on in the D.C. area? I'm thinking that gentrification has been something that you've had to deal with, even as you're trying to maintain your own life and everything and do the meditation and everything. But have you seen this kind of problems in the D.C. area?
Well, I see it all over the place. I'm often in the Boston area too, and I see like this kind of new housing, which is like these like really like standard boxing looking condos going up everywhere, and I am at a loss to figure out who can afford these, because none of my friends can afford places like this, and I think that what we're looking at down the line is another housing kind of market fall, where people won't be able to afford these rents, these mortgages, and it's going to create this ripple effect in our communities. So I feel very anxious about all of this right now. I'm really interested in how particularly communities of color, particularly black communities, can start like reinvesting wealth and supporting our own communities, our own neighborhoods right now.
Yeah, that's something we definitely have to do. Now, we've got about 5 minutes to go in the show, and I've thoroughly enjoyed the rich conversation we've had. But before we get off, I want everybody, including those of you that are running for office, to let folks know how they can reach you so that they can continue this dialogue. And, of course, I'd love to have you come back on in the future, all of you that have been on, because definitely been some very rich conversation here today that we love having on this show, Straight Talk with Dean and Mark. So I think I'll start with the ladies first. So, Nicole, if you let folks know your website and how folks can learn about the stuff that you're doing with your real estate company and how they can get in touch with you and things of that nature. And then I'll go to Victoria after that and her campaign website, and then I'll go from there to probably Sylvester and Lama Rod. But if we'll start with Nicole, if you'll let folks know how they can reach you.
Certainly, and thank you so much. This has been so much fun, and it's been great meeting everyone. You can reach me at my website, nbaxterdesign.com, or through Domicile Realty over in Chapel Hill.
Thank you. Victoria, if folks are interested in your campaign and want to help with the campaign, how can they reach you? And, of course, I'll definitely try to get you back on future episodes of this show as the campaign continues and everything, but definitely wanted to at least begin the dialogue. So, Victoria, how can folks reach you and learn about what's going on with your campaign?
Sure, and thank you again. I really have enjoyed myself, and, man, we need to do this every day. But anyway, my name again is Victoria Peterson, and I'd like to just give you my email and my phone number real quick. It's V like in victory, B like in ball, Peterson, that's Peterson 53 at yahoo.com. And I don't mind people calling me, area code 919-949-3867. Area code 919-949-3867. And I'm working on my website. So, and they can also go out to the Durham County Board of Election, and there's information on all of the candidates there also. And thank you again. I really have enjoyed myself. There is just so much that people really need to know what is really going on, and it's there are very few vehicles, and this is an awesome vehicle, and I commend my brother and the other gentleman who's doing this. This is awesome, and like I said, it sounds like you're only on once a week. You need to be on every day.
Well, thank you, and we'll try to work to maybe we can get to that daily point at some point or another. Sylvester, Mr. Williams, if you'll tell folks how they can reach you.
Yes, Pastor Sylvester Williams, working for the community on Facebook. It's Sylvester Williams on Facebook. Y'all also can reach me at CO Bar, S as in Sam, Y as in Yellow, L as in Linda, B as in Boy, A as in Apple, R as in Robert at hotmail.com. Telephone number 919-695-6679. It's 919-695-6679. And I want to say, Mark, thank you very much for having me on the program. I really enjoyed it.
No problem at all. Glad to have you on. And like I said, we'll try to get you back on in the future as well as the campaign continues and everything. Lama Rod, if you would share with us how folks can reach out to you, because you're doing a lot of very powerful work in your community and everything. So both there in the various places that you've been, whether it's been doing stuff here in this area or doing stuff throughout the area. So definitely appreciate you and the work that you're doing in the Buddhist community and just in the spiritual community in general. So if you'll let folks know how they can reach you.
Yep. Absolutely. You can reach me through my website, lamarod.com. That's LAMAROD.com. You can send me emails through that. You can also listen to talks, read articles, and videos that I've done over the past several years. And thank you for having me on.
Definitely glad to have you on and everything. George YAMAZAWA, who was our other guest that was on as well, his email is gyamazawa, and that is GYAMAZAWA.com. He is a National Poetry Slam champion as well as a cultural diplomat for the Department of State, and he's done a lot of other work, having appeared on ABC, NBC, NPR, PBS, and he's got that big thing coming up with the MCs and everything that'll be taking place at Hayti very shortly. So definitely want to give him a shout out as well. They will be doing a salute to Baba Chuck Davis at North Star. We've mentioned Phil Freeline a couple of times, and that'll space that he and his wife, along with Pierce, have organized. It's kind of a cultural arts center, and they'll be doing a tribute to Baba Chuck Davis. So they're doing regular services. So I did hear from IS. He wanted me to mention that. That'll be taking place at 11 o'clock. And I do know that at some point during the course of the fall, there will be a tribute to the legendary architect Phil.